Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. So today we're going to be doing a reacting to MAFS. Married at First Sight Australia started on Monday. I'm so behind with it. So what I'm going to do today is talk about episodes 1 and 2. It might be slightly longer than the videos next week. Yeah, so today we're going to do episodes 1 and 2. And then 3 and 4 tomorrow. I've not watched episodes 3 and 4 yet, so that's why we're doing it tomorrow. And I didn't want to confuse you with all the different people. You've probably seen this already. If you live in the UK, if you live in Australia, you would have seen this months ago. So you will know more about the show than me. If you are from Australia and watch it, don't forget to leave me a comment, but don't spoil it for me, will you? Right, so that's episode 2. We need to go into the first episode. Right, so I'm going to talk about the people that are in it, and then I'm going to leave pictures, so I'm not really going to show you what they look like at this point. I will leave photos in the video so you can get an understanding of who they are, and if I can find video clips, I'll do what I've been doing with Dancing on Ice. I'll put them into my description box, so don't forget to go ahead and check those out, and that's if I can. Sometimes they're just not there. So the first couple up were Harrison. So on my first impressions, I'm giving you first impressions of the couple. And I don't really like to judge a book by its cover, but so many couples, it's like 10 couples go in, and you were lucky to get 2 couples that are still together now from last year. So yeah, let's not talk about last year because I didn't do commentary on that. And I don't really see this as being commentary, although it is. I see it more as my personal views on the show. I've been watching now for a few years, so I believe I can do it, and I'm doing it as a viewer. So let's talk about Harrison. So the first impressions of he's up his own backside, really arrogant. He says girls think he's hot, and if you find a guy that's good looking, he will match him by 15%. So basically he's saying he's better looking than any other guy. So you could have Tom Hardy. We all know how I feel about Tom Hardy. You could have Tom Hardy, he'd think he's better looking. So that's that. I think I've got these couples mixed up. Yeah, let's talk about Bronte, which is his wife. I put Lyndall next, and they're not married. So Bronte is Harrison's wife. Bronte seems really nice and genuine and seems to really want to find true love. Bronte is really close with her family. As someone who is close to her family, it's just really nice to see. And then we'll go on to talk about Bronte and Harrison getting married, even though they got married last in the show. But because I'm talking about them in this order, on first impressions and whatnot, I do want to carry on talking about Bronte and Harrison. So one of the producers said to Harrison, "Have you thought about maybe if your bride doesn't find you attractive?" Because Harrison kept on saying, "Oh, this is a pet hate of mine, this is a pet hate of mine." And he said, no, it's just not going to happen. He's like, "Have you seen my suit? It speaks for itself." He said he chose the suit because it looks like Daniel Craig's in Casino Royale. And it's like, so you're thinking you're Daniel Craig now, are you? I mean, it's laughable in a way. I just don't get how anyone can be so arrogant. He is good looking. I'm not going to say he's not good looking, but I wouldn't say he's gorgeous, but that's just my own personal opinion. Apparently people say he's hot all the time. And then he had the nerve to say, "I know I'm a catch, any girl would be lucky to walk down the aisle to me." Right, well, arrogance is such a put off for me personally, and already I'm feeling sorry for Bronte at this point. And then I've written, as they obviously walked down the aisle, Bronte really liked him. You could just see it. I do feel like Harrison is attracted to Bronte as well. Then later on in the show, Bronte's friend Jessica, which I don't know if they are friends. I don't know if Jessica has just been put in that show to stir shit up. But basically what happened is Bronte's friend Jessica recognised him. She said that she knew someone that had been dating Harrison prior to him coming on the show, and sent her photos and text messages prior to coming on the show. How has she got the messages, you know? And apparently this woman said, "Oh, I've been dating someone from MAFS," and then Jessica realised it was Harrison when she saw him, because apparently this woman sent a picture of Harrison to Jessica's mobile phone, that's dodgy in itself. And I just find that really convenient. Every year MAFS do something like this. They basically stir it up, you know, put couples together that aren't meant to be together, that can't get on with one another, and it's just for television purposes, it's for entertainment. But I feel really bad for the women that want to be in that show. You go to the show, you speak to the experts, like there's 3 experts on the show, and they're supposed to match you with your person, and it just doesn't happen. Or it happens like 1 or 2 couples, like I said earlier, will get matched to the right person, and the other 8 couples will be kind of like, well, I've given up 8 weeks for what exactly? And then I put, in fairness to Bronte, she pulled Harrison up and asked him outright. At first he was like, what girl? What girl in her 20s? What young girl? I don't know what you're talking about. Trying to make out that he didn't know her, but then he kind of changed his tune. She's like, just come on, just be honest, you know. So he said, yeah, there was someone on the outside that I had a crush with, and we built up a connection, and he said to her, it's a shame we can't do the experiment together, but he ended it. That's according to him. But Jessica said that he'd said to this girl that when he goes home, like, they have like weekend visits and whatnot, so he'll spend all his time with the other girl and kind of dismiss Bronte. So she's just really worried about being rejected, which is fair enough. I've also put, if Jessica was such a good friend to Bronte, like, obviously Harrison was there and she kept looking over at him and the cameras kept capturing it, so the cameras knew what was going on anyway, because they kept focusing on Jessica looking at Harrison. So if she was such a good friend, why didn't she wait outside for Bronte coming in and then saying, look, you know, she kept calling her babe when they were talking. She could have said, look babe, I need to talk to you before you do this, before you actually get married, you need to know this, you need to see these photos and you need to see these messages, and then make your decision on that, whether you want to go through with it. I just feel like it's a whole setup, guys. Yeah, I just put here, Harrison later admitted to Bronte that a week before the show he hooked up with someone he had a crush on and they had a connection and wished they was doing the experiment together. I felt so bad for Bronte, she was clearly upset over what her friend had told her. But then I put, if Jessica was such a good friend to Bronte, why wouldn't she say something as soon as she realised anyone can put a stop to the wedding or say something? I think it was staged. When Bronte said she was going to confront him, her friend looked like she was enjoying it. She had a smile on her face, like, you know, I've caused some shitty, and that kind of smile. I don't like it when people stir the pot to cause trouble with 2 other people. And to be honest, Harrison has committed to this whole experiment. Who knows where it's going to go? None of the couples know where it's going to go. For all Jessica knew, he was going to tell Bronte when he got to know her a little bit more, so she should have just left well alone, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So the last thing I've written is, I don't know what the terms of the contract he signed, but if that's the case, why carry on with the show? People have left the show in the past. So if he wanted this relationship with this other woman who he'd hooked up with a week before the show, then he should have kind of cancelled the agreement. I know that people have done that in the past, but obviously a lot of people go onto this show because they want Instagram fame. A lot of people that have been previous Married at First Sight, they have built a career on this, like Dominica and what's the other one called? I follow them both on Instagram. Let me see. That's it. Dominica and Ella May have built a career around Instagram and obviously have done other things with brands, but that's what they look like. They're really nice girls. They was in it last year in Married at First Sight Australia. They built a really strong friendship. So their friendship has lasted longer than the partners that they had in that show. I mean, Dominica has got 545,000 followers. Now, I don't know how many she had prior to joining this show, but I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't have been that. And let's see how many Ella May has got. About the same. Both really pretty girls, but they're like social media queens now. Anyway, my point is, what I'm saying here is the fact that you go on a show like that or any reality show and your Instagram fame is going to go up, it's going to rocket, and that's why a lot of people do it. They don't really do it for wanting to find their partner, wanting to find their true love. The only person that I know that has was Jules Robinson and Cameron from a few years ago. They're still together now and have got a little boy. I will leave a picture of them, and they're on Instagram as well, and they're doing really, really well with social media. I think Jules and Cameron basically went on that show for true love. Jules was saying when she met Cameron, you know, I've not got much of a window, I want to have a family, you know, I want to be married. So it was quite intense with them, but yeah, they really, really got on and are still married to this day, which I always like to see. I always do like to see couples that make it from a reality TV show. Anyway, I'm digressing and making this video a little bit longer than it has to be, so I'm going to get back to it with Lyndall and Cameron. Right, so genuine first impression on Lyndall. She seems so genuine and so sweet. So she was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when she was 3 weeks old. So all her life she's been battling with a chronic illness. So there's been an awful lot that she couldn't do, and she never thought she would be able to get married. So there is this new drug for cystic fibrosis that's just been approved in Australia, which is absolutely fantastic. It's called Trikafta, if I've pronounced that right. That adds 30 to 40 years onto your life expectancy. Without that, the average age of people living with this chronic illness is around 30 years. This is what prompted Lyndall to apply for MAFS. She was really, really worried about telling Cameron that she had cystic fibrosis. She didn't know how he was going to take it. So on Cameron, I've written, Cameron seemed to be really down to earth and might be a perfect match for Lyndall. Then let's go to the wedding notes. Lyndall and Cameron. Cameron has never been in a relationship and he's jumping straight into a marriage, which I'm not sure is the wisest choice, but he seems really genuine. Can't wait to see the relationship progress. Lyndall and Cameron seem to really like one another, which was so sweet to see. Lyndall made a point to take Cameron to one side to tell him about her chronic illness, and he lost a close friend through cystic fibrosis, so he knows exactly what it is and what she has to go through on a daily basis. So I'm glad that the experts have paired them together, really, because he will be understanding of her daily battles. Lyndall was so worried that Cameron wouldn't understand, but he understood more than she ever thought he would. I think on first impressions this couple is a well-matched couple, and I hope it works out for them. So that's everything there on the first episode. So now let's go on to the second episode, which I've only just watched. So we're talking about Mondays and Tuesdays episodes here, and we're currently on Friday. So the first couple to get married was Sandy. So Sandy seems very genuine. She's risked everything to be on this show. Her parents are a traditional Indian Punjabi family. Sandy went and told her parents the cameras wasn't allowed to film in the house, so basically there was no filming allowed. She came out absolutely distraught. It was such a shame. Sandy's parents have said if she goes through with the marriage, they don't want anything to do with her. They refuse to come to her wedding. I really hope she gets on with Dan, because it would just be awful to go through this and lose her family and it not work out. I just wanted Dan to accept her for who she was. Dan seemed really, really genuine and wants to find true love. He seemed to really like Sandy. He said that there was definitely a physical attraction there, so that's a start, isn't it? It's really, really good. Sandy and Dan just seemed to be getting on really, really well. It didn't show a lot of them, to be so it focused on Jesse and Claire, which I'm going to talk about next. I feel like the more controversial you are as a couple, the more airtime you get. And this next couple is very, very controversial. So Jesse seems very opinionated and loud in saying that he does seem genuine about wanting to meet his other half and fall in love. So that's Jesse. And then Claire seems very genuine and is also very loud, so I wonder if Claire and Jesse will get along. And I think I was right to actually say that in the first impressions, because it kind of went awry. So Claire and Jesse seem to really like each other and the chemistry seems to be there. That was when they was getting married, saying the vows. And then later on in the reception, like, they was interviewing Jesse before obviously he got married, and they said to him, what don't you like in a woman? And he said, horoscope women, selfie women. He said, I don't like women who take the horoscopes too seriously. I don't like spirituality, anything like that. I don't like people who are on social media all the time. But I bet he's gonna like the fact that in 8 weeks' time he's gonna be all over social media. He's kind of pot calling the kettle black that. He's gonna be on social media. You know, I bet he's got an Instagram account. I mean, can he really say I don't like people posting selfies on social media? Each to their own and all that. If he doesn't like it, then he doesn't like it, you know. He doesn't have to do it as well. He shouldn't really be judging people if they're interested in horoscopes or in crystals or spirituality. He was saying it basically gives him the ick factor, women being into horoscopes, and once he gets that ick factor, he looks for other things that are basically going to turn him off that woman. Because she's into horoscopes and spirituality, and Claire even gave him a little crystal. He was just looking at it like that. I found it funny, and then suddenly he said, well, if it means a lot to you, it will mean a lot to me. And you could just see he was just telling her what she wanted to hear. They went on their honeymoon, and apparently there was a commotion and he shushed Claire. I mean, there's nothing worse than being shushed, is that I absolutely hate it. He shushed her, and then he showed them where they were on the honeymoon. I think it was in the Whitsundays in Australia. I think that's where they went on the honeymoon, and it showed them having a drink, and there was so much silence. It was absolutely unbearable to watch. Claire said, so do you think I talk too much? And he said, it's not that you talk too much. He said, you talk when you don't need to be talking. And she went, so I should just shut up. And he said, no, he said, just maybe think about, do I need to really... So it just cut off as I got right to the end of my notes. So what was I saying? Basically, I was just trying to get to the point of Jessie needs to accept Claire as she is. He needs to stop shushing her or telling her to shut up or whatever he's doing, making her feel really uncomfortable. I know for a fact that if someone told me to shut up, I would not take that kindly, you know, because it's rude. And at the end of the day, people talk when they've got something to say. Claire just wanted to get to know as much about Jessie as possible because she was really, really into him, and he didn't like that. I mean, I get that some people are private people. He comes across as this loud, highly energetic person, but maybe deep down he isn't so loud and highly energetic. He doesn't have to be so rude. And now there's this big awkward silence between Jessie and Claire. I really do hope that they can get over it. I think they make a really, really cute couple. So we're going to end this video here now because at this point we're going on for the half-hour mark. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you tomorrow for episodes 3 and 4. Bye guys.